हरे कृष्णा। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओम अज्ञानं तिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथामृतं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखामितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। वेलकम टू हरे कृष्णा चिल्ड्रंस Bhagavat Katha. So, continuing with the same, we saw how Aghasur was killed. Now, coming back to Vrindavan, all the Gop boys were discussing about the killing of Aghasur, as well as they were celebrating his liberation. How Krishna liberated that huge demon, Aghasur. Now let us see what is stated in Bhagavatam, that is Bhagavatam Shlok 10.13.15. So let's start. Ambho janmajani tatantaragatav mayarabhakshershittu drashtum manju mahitvam anyadapi tadvatstanito vatstapan nitvanatra krudvantara khevyastito yah pura दृष्ट्वा घासुरमोक्षं प्रभवतं प्राप्तं परम विस्मयम्. Here, as we all know that this Bhagavatam is a conversation between Sukdev Goswami, and he is narrating the whole story, all the pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna to Maharaj Parikshit. Okay, so here he tells him that the Brahma who lives in Brahmalok, he gets amused and he gets a bit confused, as well as he doubts Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He thinks that how this innocent little child is able to kill such a huge demon, Aghasura. He gets a bit confused there, as well as he doubts on Krishna. Now Sukdev Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj that in further Leela we'll see that how Brahma comes to know about the supremacy of the Lord, as well as how he learns some lessons out of these pastime. So let's start. Here Sukdev Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj that children informed about the Aghasur Vadh after 1 year. So naturally Parikshit Maharaj inquired curiously why they should have told the same incident that took place on the very day. Then Sukdev Goswami tells him that actually it was Brahma Vimohan Lila that started just after the killing of the demon. Now, as we all know that Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is self-efficient to do any work perfectly, right? So, we can take our example. For example, Supreme Personality, Lord, just with one of his eyesights, with one sight, he can give life to every living entity. Isn't that interesting? So think how perfect he must be. He's the one who has all the 6 opulences in the full quantity, in the most quantity one can have, and no one is equal or above Krishna. Okay, so if he gives us birth directly or indirectly, we are spiritual entities as Krishna is spiritual. From this we conclude that we are all supreme, that we are all spiritual entities, right? Why aren't we in the abode of Krishna then? For this question, the answer to this question is that we have forgotten our relation with Krishna. This sounds very dangerous as well as very scary, that we, all the living entities, have their real identity as Jivere Swarupa Krishnere Nityadas, right? That means that each and every living entity, starting from a tiny ant till humans and further continuing to big animals, everyone is living in an entity, and therefore every living entity has the same nature, that he is the eternal servant of Lord Krishna. Now, why are we here then? We are here because we have forgotten our relation with Krishna, and if our soul, we know that the soul is very minute in size. If we consider one strand of our hair, the tip of the hair, if we divide it into several parts, taking it as 10,000 parts, from those 10,000 parts, if we consider just one small part of it, this is the actual size of soul, Atma. See, that small minute substance, it makes all the difference between a living thing as well as a non-living thing. Non-living things do not have soul. Well, on the other side, living things have soul. What is the case with us is that our soul has forgotten its real identity. And if soul forgets about its real identity, it is considered equal to the death of it. Okay. And also we should know about the nature of soul. The nature of soul is Sat Chit Anand. That means it is full of knowledge, as well as it is very blissful and eternal also. Eternal as stated earlier. And we should also know that it is full of knowledge and blissful. It seems it considers that somehow we should get happiness, right? In everyone's life, the main aim of everyone, taking it from animals till humans, as well as considering the plants also, they also search for their happiness only. So, this is what is the nature of soul. Then the question arises, from where do we get the real happiness? The real happiness is only in Krishna consciousness. Each and every living entity should be Krishna conscious. Being Krishna conscious, here on this material world, keeps us cool and calm. We'll see in the pastime later how all the devotees of Krishna are very, very cool and very calm by nature. It keeps us cool and calm when we are Krishna conscious, as well as it gives us the free ticket to Vrindavan, our original home, back to Godhead. Now we'll see that Krishna is spiritual, as we already know. Krishna's all the activities, considering from his birth, taking all his activities, as well as each and every word spoken from his mouth, is divine. This is what we come to know from Bhagavad Gita's 4.9 shloka, that is Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvatah tyakatva deham punarjanma neti mametu so Arjuna. What Krishna tells is that one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activity does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. I told you earlier that if we are Krishna conscious, we will be straight away going back to our original home, that is Golok Vrindavan, Vaikuntha. This is what is confirmed by Krishna as well, right? So now we understand how important it is for us to be Krishna conscious. Correct? Talking about it further, Krishna has many powers. One of his main powers is Maya. Maya is very powerful, my dear friends. It's very, very powerful. It can destroy anyone. Most of us, not most, living few exceptions on this material earth, on this material world, we see that everyone is engrossed in some or the other bad habits, or they do not actually follow what is prescribed in the Vedas. And if they do not follow what is prescribed by the Vedas, or that is directed by Lord Krishna, then it is really very not good. That now we also see what the consequences are. We are facing pandemic situation now. It can be also related to that these are all the karmas that we all did here. So that is why we are facing all these things now. The power of Maya is stated in this shlok, stating Ato Bhagavati Maya Mainam api mohini Yat swayam cha atma vartatma naveda kimutapure. Here in this shloka, Maitri Muni tells Vidura that forget about Shiva and Brahma, the one that is self-amused, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is Krishna himself can't sometimes get his Maya. Think what the power of Maya is. And we all are in the hands of Maya, like we can't get out of it. It's really very difficult, but by following some proper means, by just following some simple steps directed by Prabhupada, the four main principles of ISKCON, it can give us the free ticket to Vrindavan. So it is very good that all of us should follow this. Now, the Lord, as his powers are so powerful, we consider the example of Maya. So think about how efficient and how perfect the Lord himself is. If he wants to do a work, he can do it very perfectly with most efficiency. Therefore, if he wants to bewilder anyone, he can do it. He can do it to anyone at any time. Okay. Now here we shall talk about Brahma. In this pastime, many people get bewildered, but in the whole pastime, the primarily the one who is bewildered, the one who is confused is Brahma. Now we think how Brahma is just so qualified man. But this is what the answer will get by this pastime. Now, as I told you that Brahma is the one who gets primarily confused, and then what we know is that there are categories of the confused ones also. Brahma was the first one who was confused, and the whole Brajvasis were also confused. How were these confused then? This is what the question arises. They were also confused, but actually what was the case with them, that they were happy to be confused, and they did not and they were not aware, they were not they did not have a slight doubt about Krishna's acting. Krishna had expanded himself into thousands and millions of all the gope boys, but none of their parents even doubted once that this might be Krishna, this is not our child. Nothing like that was there. They were very happy, very blissful. And why they wouldn't be? They were in direct contact with Krishna. They were directly reciprocating with Krishna in the forms of their child. Now, we took the example that how they were happy. Let us come down, a bit down, considering our situation now, okay? So, we all know Srila Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, when we get to hear his lectures, or when we meet him face to face through some or the other great devotees, just his one smile is enough to make the day for us. Even he can make the whole year for us. The thing is that we are also very happy, and we are also very blessed that we sometimes, just for few minutes, we are in direct reciprocation, in direct connection with Guru Maharaj. Think how pleasurely we are when we are with Guru Maharaj. So what must be their amusement when they are literally with Krishna? We just can't even imagine that. Their condition, the Brajvasi's condition, can also be taken as an example when we have a very good sleep and we have very nice dreams, very sweet dreams, and then in the morning we wake up and we are literally very disturbed, like I was at least happy in the dreams. This is what the condition of Brajvasis was. They were also confused, but they did not know that actually they were confused. And like we are happy in the dreams, they were extremely overwhelmed throughout the year. Now, do you all know that even a special personality, special one, who is very close to God, and by the way, he is none other than God himself, he also gets bewildered here. We will see it further, that in the Kalyadaman Lila, when it was going on, we see that everyone was in great anxiety, everyone was tensed, and they were like, nothing should happen to Krishna. They were very concerned about him, that the little child, the innocent one, should not get hurt. And they actually loved him very much, though it was the child of Yashoda Ma and Nanda Baba. But everyone had actually, what happens is that they also have eternal connections with God himself, so they were all very concerned about him. And here we see in that pastime, that Kalyadaman pastime, we see that Balram was very cool and calm. And why was he very cool and calm? He was thinking that what this water snake can do, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. God himself in the Vaikuntha, he rests peacefully in on the Anantashesh, right? Then what is this? What is snake going to do him? So there's no worry about him. He'll be all good. And so he was very cool and calm. On the other hand, everyone was very tense because they considered Krishna as their child. In this particular pastime, we see when Krishna expanded himself in limitless, in countless number of boys and calves, then don't you think it was like one is Krishna and the same Krishna is talking to other Krishna? Though the bodies are different, but they were all the expansions of Krishna. So we see what was the condition of Krishna here. He somewhat the other way, he suffered from the separation of his friends, right? And it was due to Brahma. Krishna wanted to teach Brahma some lessons because Brahma was a bit egoistic that time, and he considered himself as the mightiest one. Therefore, Krishna, what he thinks is that why now a question arises that why Krishna did not tell these things to Balram. The answer is because Krishna himself suffered the separation from his friends, and he didn't want it that Balram, his elder brother, should also suffer from the same condition. We can imagine it in a way like how do we feel when we talk to ourselves, or how do we feel when we go to picnic with ourselves? It sounds very weird, and it is. The same was the condition with Krishna. So now let us get a little bit deep into the pastime. Yes, starting from where Krishna and his friends were sitting. One day, all the Gop boys, that is all the Gopas and all the calves, were grazing as usual, and they were also extremely happy that Krishna had killed the demon Aghasur. So the celebrations were also to be done. Krishna was sitting in the center, and all his friends were surrounding him in circle. It is described that this scene looked like, have you all seen a lotus flower? It looked like how millions of petals around a lotus flower, that looks really very beautiful. They all were thinking that it's the best place, the best time, the best weather to have lunch, as well as their mood was also very good. So they all had their lunches with them. Now everyone was gazing, they were constantly gazing and staring at Krishna and drinking the nectar of his beauty. He is the most beautiful person, is the most beautiful person of the universe. We all accept that, yes. He is the Mr. Universe, we can say. If something above, we can entitle him as that. To everyone there on that time, to everyone it seemed that Krishna was looking at him personally. This is how Krishna reciprocates with his devotees. Now, this reminds me of Govardhan Lila, you remember? How in Govardhan Lila, everyone was looking and staring at Krishna with the same love in their eyes. They were all looking at Krishna with love, and the same reciprocation Krishna was giving them with love in his eyes also. As well, each and everyone there, it seemed to them that Krishna was personally looking at him or her. And they were very, very excited and they were very, very overjoyed at that time. Now, they started having their lunch, and as usual, as every day, what they do is that they offer food to Krishna, and Krishna tastes them as well as he offers them too. The Supreme Personality of Godhead offers his friends food. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.26. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yoma bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakta uparitam ashrami prayatatmanah. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. See how kind and gentle Krishna is. He accepts whatever, anything we offer him with utmost love and affection. Now the question arises that Krishna ate the remnants of the boys also? How is this possible? Taking this question, we should never consider these Gopas as the ordinary ones, since they were great saints and very dear and near devotee of Krishna. In some other births before, they must have had the desire to be friends with Krishna, and their desire is fulfilled here. We see they took birth this time as Krishna's friends, and we also see that anything that anyone in this entire universe, if he or she offers Krishna with love, he accepts it with love as well. We considered the Gajendra Moksha Lila. Yes, that elephant Gajendra, he called Krishna with love, and the whole stuti, the whole glorification of Lord was done by him. Krishna was so happy with this that he couldn't wait to help him. So he was very, very hurry. He was in a very hurry to help his devotee, the so-called Gajendra, that is an elephant. Now, considering the Prasad topic, do you all know the story of Karma Bai? Let me remind you that she was a dear devotee of Jagannath Ji. Yes, she was very dear and she was very close to him. What she did was that in the villages we might have seen everyone brushing their teeth with neem stick, that is very good for our teeth. The same thing was used by Karma Bai. Okay, Karma Bai used the neem stick for brushing as well as for stirring the khichdi what she used to make for Jagannath Ji. I first couldn't believe that she used to do this, but as stated that she was a very good devotee of Krishna, and Krishna accepts everything that is offered with love. We also see in the case of Vidur, when in Mahabharata we see Krishna ate the peels of banana and did not have the pulp, because it was offered with so much of affection and love that he couldn't reject those peels also, and he ate the same peels with great amusement, with great pleasure. Now we see in Karma Bai's case that she daily used to prepare the prasad in the same way, and this was once spotted by a priest who was going by from her house to Jagannath Ji temple. Okay, so he noticed that she is making prasad for Lord Jagannath in this manner. he couldn't digest this. So he went and he taught her the proper way of preparing prasad, that she should get up, do all her daily activities. Then, with pure body and pure heart, she should start making the prasad for Jagannath ji. After 2 to 3 days of this incident, Jagannath ji himself came into the dreams of the Panda and told him to go and apologize in front of the old lady Karmabai, that she was perfect in the way that she was following. Who are you to question her and doubt on her? It's all the connection between me and my devotee. You should not be in between. The same was followed by the Panda, the priest, and he went immediately to Karmabai. He apologized, and then the same way that she used the neem stick for brushing as well as for stirring the khichdi started again. With this, we see that he even accepts what the left, we can call it remnants only. It was literally, she was putting it in mouth and then stirring. Yes, we see that it was with such intense devotion that Jagannath ji, if he got the same khichdi in a proper way, he could not digest that. It was all because of love and intense devotion. Similarly, in this pastime, Brahma Vimohan Lila, we see that with such pure devotion, all the Gopas offered him the food and were very happy with the jokes that Krishna cracked. At the lunchtime, he used to crack jokes and all of them were laughing and enjoying with him. This celebration of killing Aghasur and what noise was going on, they were making a hell of noise. This same scene was spotted by demigods and Brahma. They live in upper worlds. They saw from there all the celebration that was going on the banks of Yamuna. They could see some children as well as a small little innocent kid was sitting in the center of all those thousands and millions of Gwalbals. Okay. And then Brahma said, looking at this scene, that Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is the acceptor of anything that is put into the sacred fire, the yajna. Then how could he eat the remnants of these boys? He also confirms that Krishna eats all the things that are put into the yajna, and now he is eating the same from the mouths of those boys. This was beyond his calculation. He could not digest it. What happened is then all these things bewildered Brahma. First time he was confused when that small child named Krishna, he killed a huge demon like Aghasur. It's not a joke. And then the second time he was bewildered when he saw that he was eating the remnants of the food, that he was eating the remnants of food from the mouths of those boys, and he seemed to be very happy. What is this going on down? And this is the same child that the Vedas claim to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So then, Brahma, what he does is, he decides that he will show his powers to that little boy, as well as he will check his powers also, and he would like to know whether this ordinary boy can affect Brahma also, and he wanted that this child should be taught a lesson for his over smartness. Now, as the calves were eating fresh grass that Brahma was providing them, what he does, the Brahma, he slowly disappeared the calves. All the calves were disappeared. Brahma stole all of them first. The boys, making all the fun there on the banks of Yamuna, they were surprised. They were in great shock. Where were their calves? Then they feared of their parents also. For every child, if one is not afraid of anyone, he is definitely afraid of his mother and father. These ones were also very afraid of their mother and father, that how will they face them in the evening? Then, as they were devotees of Krishna, and being devotees of Krishna, Krishna handles all the things when anyone is 100% surrendered to him. We come to know from Bhagavad Gita's 9.22 shloka, that is, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesam nityabhiyuktam nam yogashemam vahamyaham. Okay. Krishna says, those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack, as well I preserve what they have. Krishna confirms us that if we are totally surrendered to him, there is no way that he will leave us. He will take care of all our things, he will take care of all our belongings, and if we lack anything that we must have, we are deserved for that thing, he provides us with that also. Now we see in the case of these boys that they were also totally surrendered to Krishna, and every time any demon or any bad energy influenced Vrindavan, they all surrendered to Krishna, and then Krishna would handle everything afterwards. Okay. Here Krishna says, you all keep on enjoying food, I will personally go and find the calves. Then the boys were relaxed as they were in the company of Krishna, and they had such faith and trust on Krishna that anything assigned to him, he will be doing that task perfectly. Then he was in such hurry for looking the calves that he was holding dahi, rice and some fruits in his hands, and he went running away from that place in search of the calves. Okay, searching for the same, he searched everywhere in the forest, near the rivers, mountains, river valleys, but they were nowhere to be seen. Krishna was surprised that where were they? Now, when he was a bit sad, he knew that these all are the tantrums of Brahma itself. But he pretended to be a normal, ordinary boy. Being sad, Krishna returned to the place where all his friends were having lunch. Okay, and what he sees there is everyone is disappeared from there also. Now, he is very sure that Brahma has done all these things. Now everyone are gone. The calves are gone, the gopas are gone, everything is gone. He's left alone in the forest. But he, being the Supreme Lord, he knows everything. He knows the past, he knows the present, as well as he knows the future of each and every living entity of this universe. Okay. He knows every desire, every wish, every activity, every world, every living entity, and that's Krishna. So he was sure that these are all the tricks that are played by Brahma on him. Now, Krishna just pretended to be a small little innocent ordinary boy, and he was like, where are my friends and where are my calves? He was very sad and he walked around in bewildered state, still holding that dahi, rice and the fruits which he kept in his hand and ran away. Now, watching this from the upper worlds, from the Brahmalok, Brahma was amazed. He was very excited. He was very happy that now I have done something. And then Brahma leaves. Krishna wanted to please Brahma as well as the mothers of all the calves and the goat boys. What Krishna does now, he expands himself in millions of boys and calves. Incredible. Asankhya cows, asankhya calves, asankhya gopas. Now everyone reappeared, but none of them were original. Okay. The set that Brahma stole were also not the original ones. Actually, those which Krishna expanded were the expansions of Krishna, and those with Brahma were with the help of Maya. Okay. Where were the original ones then? They were present in Vrindavan only, but they were in invisible state. Okay. Now what happened is then Krishna expands himself, and then they were all the expansions of Krishna. Then they set back for their home as it was evening time. They reached home and their mothers' hearts were filled with love this time than ever before. All the calves loved their calves, all the cows loved their calves a bit less than Krishna, and every mother in Vrindavan used to love Krishna a bit more than their child. Of course, these were the best mothers, they were the best moms of the universe. They were the best ones in teaching their child anything, as well as they were the best in everything. They were devotees of Krishna, so no doubt about that they will not handle anything improperly. We also know that they loved Krishna more than their children, a bit more than their children, and they had a desire that somehow they should be able to treat Krishna how Yashodama and Nand Baba treats them. Nand Baba and Yashodama were the luckiest persons of the universe at that time, correct? The same thing, the Vrajvasis also desired that somehow they had a very intense desire that they should get Krishna in the form of their child. How amazing this idea was. So, for fulfilling this, Krishna had also kept this in mind, and this time Krishna became the child of every mother, each and every mother, so expertly. And this was going on till 1 year. It was around 5 to 6 days before the year was getting completed that Krishna, Balram and one coward man they were all on the Govardhan hill, okay, with all the cows. All the cows were grazing, and what happened, and on seeing their calves down, they all rushed in so much hurry that the coward man couldn't understand what happened to these cows. They daily see their calves, but this was never the reaction, I suppose. What happened to them from the past few months? I cannot get all these things. He spoke out. Krishna smiled, and Balram was also confused. The coward's man concern was also that the Govardhan hill was a very rocky one, and if somehow the cow should not get hurt. This was his concern. And as the cows were filled with love on seeing their children, the milk from them, the milk from them filled the whole of the Govardhan hill. On reaching the calves, all the lovingly activities took place between the calves and the cows. The lovingly activities between the mothers and all the goat boys, as well as the loving activities of the cows and their calves, were noticed constantly by Balram. Balram could not get what was this happening from past 1 year. So, he was also confused, which we don't see in any other Leela than this one. He first asked Krishna, but then Krishna just replied him with a sweet smile. Then Balram went in deep thought, and he thought that all the mothers of Vraj loved Krishna more than their child, and I can see that from past many months these are all treating him like Krishna. Then slowly and steadily he concluded that this is Krishna for sure, and he confirmed with Krishna also the same. Now when he was confirmed that these all are Krishna, it was completely 1 year on the earth, and it was one moment for Brahma there. In Brahmalok, there is a huge time difference between earth and Brahmalok. Now the question comes here is that where was Balram on that day when Brahma stole all the calves and his friends? It was Balram Jayanti on that day, and as it was his birthday, so Ma Rohini, she decorated Balram with very nice flowers and garlands and new dress, and did many abhishekams also with his hands. She also gifted many priestly people some gifts as well. That is why Balram, he missed all the Leela that was. He even missed Aghasur also, I suppose. As he was not present for that single day, he could not understand what was going on from past 1 year in the Braj. Now, Brahma wanted to see what was the effect he caused to Krishna as he stole all his friends according to him, correct? Now he was already very happy that he has done something, and now he thought of going and checking. He came down on the earth on his one carriage and looked there. He saw that everyone was fine. Everyone was very happy. They were all enjoying with Krishna, and everyone was very normal and ordinary, like every day. This was not accepted by Brahma at all. He totally got confused and he was like, these are the ones, then who are there? Did the same Krishna steal from my secret cave also? But the thing happened that when Brahma stole all these scarves and goat boys, he kept them under mystical sleep and he stole it from there and he put them all in a cage. It was a secret cave and it was situated in Brahmalok, okay, and it was only known to Brahma. But he forgot that one personality is always on the head of him, that is Krishna. Krishna knew everything. He expanded himself down, and the one with those were with the help of Maya were there in the cave of Brahma. So now Brahma was confused that what is happening down here. Then he thought of checking it again in his cave. He went back to Brahmalok and he saw there that all the goat boys were still sleeping there in the same position that he kept them. Then he again looked down and he saw that everyone was enjoying on the banks of Yamuna as well. They were with Krishna. Now he couldn't understand anything. How is it possible, man? He again saw there in the cave everything fine, and again on the banks of the river everything normal here also. What was this going on with him? He couldn't understand anything, and this cycle kept on for 2 to 3 times, and then he thought that I'm damn sure that this also is the mischief of that notorious boy Krishna. He must have taken these gwalbas and the calves and put them there on Yamuna. When I look at them there, and when I see here, he takes them here from the banks of Yamuna and puts them there. Maybe this was the case, but he also saw the possibility that there might be 2 sets also, one down with Krishna and one in his secret cave. Now, here it is to be noted that Brahma with 4 heads, all of his body is made up of intelligence. So, even Brahma gets confused, is just blank and he's confused like anything, because Krishna is playing game with him. And in addition to that body filled with just intelligence, he has 4 heads also. And Brahma is also the guru of the universe. He is known as the father of universe, but the primary father of the universe is Krishna, as we all know. Now, Brahma gets totally confused. He thinks that there may be 2 sets, one with Krishna and one with Brahma himself in the cave. Then he thinks, then if there are 2 sets, then which one is the original and which one are the duplicate? Then he looks down there and he sees there's no difference between them and those which are kept here in the cave. He thinks that the set with Krishna is duplicate because he stole them from Krishna on that day. So he can't steal the wrong ones. He was confident. So those must be the duplicate. But he thought that I don't see any difference in these also. Did I stole the wrong ones? No, I cannot steal the wrong ones. This was the etc. questions on his mind. And after all this, he was totally blank And he was like, what is this going on? Who are these? Then if these are the real ones, who are there with me? Who is doing all these things? And so on and so on. And when he last time checked on the banks of Yamuna what was happening, then what he saw was the wish, all the children who were the expansions of Krishna, everyone changed into Vishnu, dark in complexion, 4 hands, carrying Shankh, Chakra, Gada and Padma. He could see literally every living entity down there. He could see priests worshipping Lord. He could see people doing their jobs. He could see Vishnu. And he also noticed the same little kid, Krishna, was in his own way. He was the same like when he saw him the last time, when he went for searching for the calves, taking dahi and rice and some fruit mixed with it. He was now totally confused. Once more, he was a bit. He had a bit of pride that he was the mightiest in the whole universe, and so for relieving him from this pride, what Krishna did, he called Brahma on his abode, as well as he called some other Brahmas as well. Seeing 6-headed Brahma, 7-headed Brahma, 10-headed Brahma, 50-headed Brahma, and 100-headed Brahma, etc., etc. Now Brahma was down on the earth, his legs were on the earth. He felt, no, I am not the mightiest one. That day he was relieved. And then, if he was confused with those Brahmas, it is natural that he will be confused with those Vishnus also. As usual, he was totally confused and he went blank. He couldn't move, he couldn't see. Then he realized that yes, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just because Krishna saw slight false ego in Brahma, he enacted this pastime. Krishna wanted to relieve Brahma from this. At this time, Brahma was completely surrendered to God. When he was totally surrendered to God, he comes down on the earth, he pays his obeisances, Govindamadi Purusham Tavaham Bhajami. And then he understood that he might be the mightiest in the universe, but there's someone who is on the top of everyone. That's Krishna. He understood that even though he is the most powerful personality in the universe, all of his powers were just like a firefly. You all know a firefly? In the dark, a firefly, it lights up small places, and we can see mostly in the forest areas and even in villages. We don't find it in cities. He considered his powers to be, in comparison to the God, he considered that his powers were just like the fireflies. What the firefly thinks that it can see only a very small area around himself, and he thinks that this is what the universe is. And when he lights up that area, he feels that he has lighted up the whole universe. His chest gets broader 4 times. He is very proud that time. And when in the morning sun comes, then he is a bit ashamed and his legs are now down to the earth, and he thinks that his powers in comparison to the sun are just insignificant. No comparison between the two, right? The Brahma, now he realized that in the similar way, the powers of Brahma and the powers of Lord Krishna is also incomparable, as well as he is totally insignificant in front of him. And all the powers that he is having is just because of Krishna. When he reached this conclusion, his eyes opened. And then Brahma reached Vrindavan to know who is Krishna. Now Krishna is everything. He is Raj Bihari, he is Vrindavan Chandra, he is Gopinath, he is Damodar, etc. goes on the list. Now, when he reached down on the earth, he could see Vrindavan in a totally different way. He now saw Vrindavan as a holy place, and it was just because of the eyes of love that was gifted by Krishna's grace. Talking about Brahma, if he listens to this pastime, he will also get very happy that he was once defeated by his master. And it was actually not a man-made mistake, it was just a pastime that through which Krishna wanted to make us understand that if such personalities like Brahma can get a slight ego, then who are we? And we also see that it was totally Lord's wish. He engaged Brahma in the same pastime. An extremely qualified Brahma can also get pride. Though it was a Leela, we learn many things from this. Lastly, after realizing and surrendering himself to Krishna, what Brahma do to repent himself? He chose to become a rock in the holy land of Barsana. Further, when the world sees, we all know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When the world sees the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with him, we also see his dear disciple named Haridas Thakur. Yes, we all know him, the great devotee. He is none other than Brahma himself. He chose to punish himself by having a birth in a Muslim family, because at that time having birth in Muslim family was not considered a good one. But if a person is born into a Brahman family, there are 90% chances that he might get proud of the same. So, for any condition, Brahma did not want that he should again get proud for his powers or for his birth. So he chose that he should be born in a Muslim family. In this life, he countlessly chanted the holy name. Here, Krishna shows that the supreme personality of Godhead is Krishna himself, and we all are his parts and parcels. Krishna clearly shows Brahma about his supremacy and what things can he do. So if he can show his supremacy to Brahma, then what we are about us, no question about us, right? Secondly, we also come to know that he eternally reciprocates with his devotees. Okay, as we saw earlier, that each and every mother in Braj used to love Krishna a bit more than her child, right? Even the cows love their calves a bit less than Krishna. Everyone wanted to have the same opportunity as Yashodama had. They didn't even envy Yashodama. They were not at all jealous of her. But what if happens here? Yes, what happens here is this: in this material world, if any person gets a very precious or very valuable thing, the people around him or her are always concerned that some or the other way we should get the thing, or if we do not get the thing, we should destroy it, this or that. But the Brajvasis were very, very gentle. They did not have any envy feeling for Yashodama. Seeing this and keeping this in mind, Krishna became the child of every mother for about 1 year. Thirdly, we also come to know that descending knowledge is always better than ascending knowledge. Nowadays, great scientists or researchers, we can say, they keep on proving a statement and call it a theorem. And with this theorem, they again continue to prove some other theories, and the knowledge gaining process goes on. While on the other hand, we see our spiritual scriptures, that is Vedas, all the 4 Vedas have the knowledge of the world. Nothing is left out from them. So if simply they could have read or they could have understood the Vedas, there's no need of doing such hard work in proving these statements and then proving another statements for the same, right? And but the problem with us is that because of our 100-gram brain, we don't accept things easily. We also learn that Krishna is the master of all demigods. For example, as we know that Brahma is originated from the Lord, so are the other demigods. Okay. Now we come to other debateous topic, that is Vishnu the incarnation of Krishna or Krishna the incarnation of Vishnu? What do you all think? Now let's see what the scripture says. As in this Leela, the scriptures always tell us that Krishna is the supreme one. Okay. We also get a proof from this pastime that when Brahma looked on the banks of Yamuna, he saw limitless numbers of Vishnu. As these were all the expansions of Krishna, so Krishna expanded himself in all the goat boys as well as the calves, and now he also expanded himself as Vishnu, correct? So from this also we get an idea that some or the other way Krishna has expanded himself into Vishnu, and so Krishna is the supreme one. Get cool. So we can conclude that Krishna is the primary father of the universe. It is also stated in scriptures that Sata Raja Tama iti prakrite gunate yukta param purusha ek ihi asya dhate sthiti ade hari virichi hara et sangya shreyanshi tatra khalu swatva tanu nriransu. Lord says that as he appears as Brahma, Vishnu or Shiva according to the situation. So from this shloka also we come to know that Krishna expands himself into Vishnu, and so Vishnu is the incarnation of Krishna, correct? Let us now know what are the benefits of hearing this pastime. As stating in scriptures, anyone who hears it with intense devotion and attention, all his fervent spiritual desires get fulfilled. Fervent spiritual desires, they should be fervent, as well as the person should listen to it with full attention and full devotion. And if the person has a very intense desire of or wish for spiritual development, that instantly gets confirmed. This is confirmed by Krishna himself. So lastly, I would like to conclude that we must not have any ego, as well as we should surrender to God fully. This happens step by step. I do not say that I am fully surrendered to God, but I am just stating what the Vedas say, that each of us should be Krishna conscious, so that we can get our free ticket to our original home, correct? and there is eternal happiness. No worries about studies, no worry about children. Everything is all right there. No disease, no getting older there. So think what a nice life we would be having if we are Krishna conscious, and if we are Krishna conscious, we surely get the ticket to Golok Vrindavan. Okay, with this I conclude the lecture. Okay, Hare Krishna. Srila